Welcome into our post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here today, the Diamondbacks 11 and the Padres 4 as the Padres see their 4-game win streak come to an end. Diamondbacks do salvage the finale of this 3-game series, and the Padres now will head to Chicago for the second half of a 6-game road trip. Padres drop to 18-19. Diamondbacks improve to 15-20. Sam Levitt with you on our post-game coverage inside our San Diego studios. A lot to do on this Sunday afternoon. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. We'll also have all the radio highlights for you, recap this game in its entirety, full out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more to come on what was a frustrating afternoon for the Padres in a couple of different ways, and we'll break down each and every aspect of this ball game here today. But first, just some initial thoughts for you. One of the things we talked about pregame today, how good the Padres starting pitching had been this turn through the rotation, whether it was Yu Darvish, whether it was Joe Musgrove. We got a major update on Joe. He's going on the IL. I'll have more on that in just a second in case you missed it earlier, how good he was earlier this week. And then, of course, Dylan Cease and Michael King in this series in Arizona. Well, today showed you just why it's so important that your starting pitching is good, really never minding what your offense does day in, day out. The Padres, during this 4-game win streak, entering today, had a 1.14 ERA from their starting pitching in this streak. 3 earned runs given up in 23 2/3 innings with a 193 opponent batting average. 23 strikeouts to no walks in the last 4 games for Padres starting pitching. This was a tough one today for Matt Waldron. Diamondbacks were really all over him in the first inning. They end up scoring 4 runs on 4 hits in that opening frame. Waldron walks a batter in that opening frame. But to the Padres' credit, and this is what was sort of frustrating about this one today, the Padres battled back in the second. They made it a 4-3 game, and quite frankly, with the way the Padres have been swinging the bat lately, you felt like, all right, if Waldron can settle in a little bit, Padres can find a way to win this game, score some runs, and even after Waldron then gave up 2 more runs in the second to make it 6-3, Padres found a way to scratch across a run in the top half of the third to make it 6-4. But then after that, the 4 runs in the 4th inning make it 10-4 Arizona, 11-4 after 1 more run in the 5th inning, and the game sort of got out of hand. Not a great final line today for Matt Waldron. 3 innings total, did pitch into the 4th inning, was taken out. 8 runs given up, 7 earned. 8 hits, walked 3, struck out 2, and gave up a home run. Johnny Brito had a rough first inning of work. He ends up giving up 3 earned runs, 5 hits in 3 innings, although Brito would settle down a little bit. But I thought today, look, is it the end of the world? The Padres don't sweep this series, even though you felt like they had a really good opportunity against the Diamondbacks team that's banged up and not playing very well right now. You did feel like today was a really good opportunity for the Padres to win a 5th in a row, to sweep a series in Arizona. Doesn't happen. It's not the end of the world, but a lot of the issues today were due to the Padres not just not getting a great starting pitching performance from Matt Waldron, and even when they cut it to a 1-run game and then cut it to a 2-run game again with the run in the 3rd, things sort of unraveled in that 4th inning and the game got away. So I thought today once again proved the point that while the offense is incredibly important, and the addition of Luis Arraez will help this lineup, no doubt. It is so important that the Padres on most nights get some really good starting pitching. Didn't quite get that here today with a frustrating outing for Matt Waldron. So one of those games, one of those days where, hey, if your starter gives up 8 runs in 3 innings, you're probably not going to win that game, and that's kind of how this one felt here today. The update on Joe Musgrove, in case you are just joining us, maybe you didn't hear the pregame, maybe you didn't check social media today. There was a major update on Joe right before today's game. Musgrove going on the IL with what the Padres officially called right elbow inflammation on the transaction we saw Randy Vasquez is being called up from AAA El Paso, so he'll take Musgrove's spot, you would assume, in the rotation for Tuesday. But then we found out from Kevin Acee from the San Diego Union Tribune a little bit later, and a number of other reporters tweeted this out as well later on, that Joe is dealing with triceps tendonitis, and it was precautionary. The Padres putting him on the IL. So, look, you hope for Joe. It's something that just means he's out for a couple of weeks, and then he's back on the mound and everything's good. Obviously, anything with the right arm, anything involving a tricep, an elbow, whatever it might be, exactly what's going on for Joe Musgrove. Not the greatest thing to hear, but you hope for Joe. Couple of weeks on the IL. Hopefully he's back here pretty soon. And Randy Vasquez, again, was called up from AAA El Paso. So not a great day for the Padres on what's been a pretty good 4 or 5 days for this team. But here today, Matt Waldron struggling in his start. Padres falling behind, never could fully recover. And Joe Musgrove also going on the IL. So not a great day for the Padres on this Sunday. The only other thing you could point to in this game, and I want to give some grace because, look, I think when you're behind 10-4, 11-4, that's putting a huge onus on your offense to, come up with a huge game and go win you a game, with which this offense we've seen now is capable of at times. But the frustrating part about the offense today, they get the 3 runs in the second. They were able to scratch across 1 more in the third. But then after that, the Padres actually had a hit in every inning after the third. The problem was they had singles, just a one-off single in each of the final 6 innings of this game. They had a single in the 4th, same in the 5th, same in the 6th, same in the 7th, the 8th, and 9th. And the sort of incredible part about the final 6 innings of this game offensively was that the Padres had a single in each inning, and they didn't get the runner to second base in those innings, and the runners were stranded in each of those innings. So they had a little something going in every inning, but they couldn't find a way to really string hits together in the final 6 innings of this game. Again, when you're down 10-4, 11-4, it's a hard ball game to win. So I'll give the offense a little break for today because they have been really good over the course of the first couple of games in this series. And we saw the Diamondbacks offense, which came into today's game just ice cold. We talked plenty about it pregame. They just were not scoring at all. Well, it was only a matter of time in all likelihood until the Diamondbacks did wake up offensively. Today was that day. And look, it's hard to win a ball game when you have a tough start from your starting pitcher, as Matt Waldron went through today. All right, a lot to do on our post-game coverage. When we come back, we'll break down this game in its entirety. We have the radio highlights for you. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, and much, much more to come. Final score again here today, Diamondbacks 11 and the Padres 4, as the Padres do take 2 out of 3 in this 3-game set. Padres do see their 4-game winning streak come to an end, but no time to dwell on it. It's on to Wrigley Field, on to Chicago's start of a 3-game series tomorrow in the Windy City. More after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here today, Padres 4 and the Diamondbacks 11, as the Diamondbacks do salvage the finale of this three-game series. Padres do take 2 out of 3 from the D-backs, and look, in the grand scheme of things, it's what you want to do. You want to win series, and now you go to Chicago. You hope to win a series there, make it a winning road trip, and come home after that. So the Padres, again, tough outing today for Matt Waldron. We'll dive into what happened in this game in just a moment, and they fall 11-4. Padres now 18-19 on the year, so unable to move above 500. D-backs improve to 15-20. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a matter of minutes, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's break down this game with our game highlights.
What moments had the big... We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
It was a tough first inning for Matt Waldron, a leadoff single, and then it was Ketel Marte.
1-0 to Marte, hit in the air to very deep right field. Fernando's going back, he's at the wall, looking, gonna go. 2-run homer, Ketel Marte. Well, here's the Diamondback offense. They have been quiet all weekend, but they take a lead for the first time, 2-0 Arizona.
Waldron would later give up a 2-run single to Corbin Carroll. D-backs had an early 4-0 lead after just one inning. Padres got some back in the top of the second after there were 2 outs and nobody on. Xander Bogaerts singled. Jackson Merrill was next.
Left-handed batter with a runner on first, and he swings at the first pitch. Skies it to deep right field. Smith is back. It's going to go. A 2-run homer for Jackson Merrill. He ambushes the fastball from Ryan Nelson, and the deficit is cut in half. 4-2 Arizona in the second.
Padres weren't done. Ha-Seong Kim walked, and then the number 9 batter, Kyle Higashioka, stepped in.
On the homestand, swings here, lines it over Suarez. Down the left field line, that's rocketing all the way into the corner. Kim is on his horse, he's rounding third. He is on his way, there will not be a relay. And Kyle Higashioka, an RBI double. This is a 1-run game.
But the D-backs got 2 runs back in the bottom of the second. Matt Waldron issued a couple of walks, gave up a couple of RBI base hits. The D-backs had a 6-3 lead after 2 innings. Padres did get a run back in the top of the third. Fernando Tatis Jr. doubled. Jake Cronenworth then singled to start the inning. Tatis scored on a double play ball off the bat of Manny Machado. That made it 6-4, so the Padres were hanging around. But the D-backs extended the lead again in the bottom half of the fourth. Matt Waldron gave up back-to-back doubles to start the inning. That made it 7-4. He came out of the game. Johnny Brito entered. Brito retired the first 2 batters he faced, but there was a runner still on second for Christian Walker.
McCarthy at third, 2 down. Here's the 2-2. Walker chops it sharply to third. Knocked down by Manny. Picks it up, not going to have a play. McCarthy will come in and score an infield single for Christian Walker, and the Arizona lead is now 8-4.
Jock Peterson was next.
Here's the pitch, and that is skied in the air down the right field line. Fernando back to the corner at the wall. Gonna go. Moonshot home run for Jock Peterson. A 2-run homer here in the bottom of the fourth inning. It is now 10-4 Diamondbacks.
So at 10-4, D-backs lead. D-backs would get one more run in the fifth inning to make it 11-4. That was against Johnny Brito, who went 3 innings, 3 earned runs, giving up 5 hits on 42 pitches. That was pretty much all to tell you about in this game. The Padres bullpen did a good job late. Stephen Kolek, Wandy Peralta, a scoreless inning for each of those guys. And then you look at the Diamondback side of things. Ryan Nelson, 5 innings, 4 runs given up. He picks up the win here today. And then it was Justin Martinez, Joe Mantiply, Ryan Thompson, and Kevin Ginkel combining for 4 scoreless innings out of the D-backs pen. They were working with a large lead, 11-4. And that was our final score here today. Like I said, the Padres had a single in each of the final 6 innings of this game. Could not find a way to score any of them, and the Padres dropped this series finale in Arizona. D-backs now 15-20. Padres dropped to 18-19. Let's go back to Chase Field in Arizona. Here's some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
How much of that was explainable by being a tough day for Matt?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty big part of it, not depending on one area, but, we just couldn't couldn't get it going on the mound to start. Matty just wasn't able to get anything going consistently. Had the clean third, but then started the fourth and had to make a decision to get him out of there. But answered back twice, punched right back, stayed in it, but just couldn't hold him.
We've heard a little bit about what's going on with Joe, but what's your understanding of kind of timeline and prognosis going
forward? Timeline TBD. We think it's very similar to Darvish's situation, where it's not a scheduled breather, but a chance to get a breather. Through a bullpen, could have gotten through it, could have answered the bell on Tuesday. Just felt like there's some inflammation in there that's not quite, where we wanted to be, and just a good chance for him to get a little bit of a reset and a little bit of a blow. So don't feel like it's anything overly serious, but there is some inflammation in there that we want to get out and make sure that he's feeling good consistently.
Vasquez, we started Tuesday.
We'll announce that later. Yes, sir.
Did Burrito having to go today? I mean, is it kind of like you have to wait and see how it lines up for Tuesday?
Yeah, I think they were a little bit independent. Clearly we had to go to Burrito today and use him, so that is part of the equation of what's taking place on Tuesday. Burrito does recover pretty well, but it pretty much eliminates him from a start on Tuesday.
What do you envision using Solano? How do you envision?
Yeah, I talked to Donovan this morning. We go way back. I remember had him in rookie ball 2006. Just case by case, we'll see what it looks like. They got some lefties going over there, so maybe provide an opportunity for him. And come off the bench, take a good at bat. So, we're going to take it as it comes.
When you say opportunities, could he start against lefties?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it. It's clearly on the table, but I wouldn't rule it out. Yeah.
What's your calculus there? You get Burrito up, right? And it's like your offense has shown this ability to come back, and they're hitting today, but you want to have this guy go. You don't want to pull him. What are you going through there in the second inning? Yeah,
well, the second, listen, it's a long answer to your question. Right. So, because there's a lot of factors into it relative to, what's going on with Joe on Tuesday. Some other things that, you want to consider. Of course, you're in the competition now. Also, starters, including Matt, have had rougher starts. And then, getting 8 innings, 7, 8 innings of your bullpen sets you up for not a really good recipe for 2 or 3 days. I read Sparky's book. Sparky Anderson's you chase a game, and you might not be good for the next 2 or 3. So just be smart. So you're weighing that balance to your question. And Matt's given us the ability to kind of clear and regroup and get out of it like he did. He got out of the second and he grabbed a clean third. And we wanted to give him an opportunity for Barnhart and see what it looked like, with McCarthy. And of course, both those guys get on, and we went to Burrito, and it took him a while to get settled in. And once he got settled in, he threw up some zeros. But it's who you're bringing him in, rest of the bullpen, what's coming up, all those things. So, but effectively, starters that have slower starts get the benefit of the doubt to settling in because their job's to eat innings.
So Joe's had a little bit of a rough entry, especially by his standards this year. How important do you think this reset will be to getting him back to what you're used to, and how important is he overall to what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, Joe's clearly big overall to what we're doing, and the last outing he had was tremendous. So, I don't want to be too – I've got recency bias and I've got history bias with Joe. So his last start, he was really tremendous. So it looked like Joe. History is really a quality pitcher for us, has been for years, even prior to getting over here. So, Joe's going to be important, like all our starters, to be able to go out and give us a chance to compete every night.
Is this elbow anything that's affected him at all in his previous starts this season?
No.
Okay, so did I just hear you say recency bias and history bias? I think you're the first manager I've ever heard say that.
Yeah, in the same sentence.
In the same sentence,
yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe.
To some extent, it's been a little straightforward. When your starters do well, you guys tend to do well. I know you don't necessarily think it's troubling at this point, but you also are getting these starts where you're in this big hole.
Yep.
And that has been trouble.
Right.
What are your concerns there?
Well,
or lack of.
Yeah, listen, we trust our guys. We go out the fact of the matter is that, that's why you look at the payrolls and starting pitching is a big part of the equation for guys, getting compensated rightfully so, So if you get quality starts, you got a chance to compete. If you're having trouble getting them, you put your club in a more compromised position to compete. That being said, like today, to your question earlier, Ace, we get in a hole, boom, we answer back, go back out, answer back, and then we still couldn't hold him even later in the game. So, but yeah, the starting pitching and being able to go out and get that quality start is really important consistently to play consistent baseball.
Jackson snapped it off for 20 on Friday, and then parlayed into a really good series for you. Did you like what you saw?
Loved what I saw. Again, just got back to who he was in the zone more, laying off other pitches, good pitches to hit. Not trying to do too much, just nice easy stroke for that 2-run homer. So I'm glad you brought it up. He looked great, middle of the field, and just took good at bats. And later in the game against a tough guy, just boom, I'm just going to try to stay on the ball and hit the ball the other way. So Jackson's continues to be special.
It is special, right? Because it's one thing for you guys to say in spring, well, this kid's got it, he's going to pull out of slumps, but to see it happen, that's another thing.
That's part of how this works. You get off to a great start, the league adjusts, and then how you adjust back and then get back to what really you do well, and that's what Jackson's been able to do the last almost a whole year, but getting back to it and being grounded in what makes him successful. And slowing the game down again is now you see the results of the series.
I know you don't want to be a consolation, but that could have gone worse. If you had to take him out in the second and then Brito.
Oh, no question. That's the thing about it. That's the part about it. We can't. Next couple of days we'll be able to say, hey, because of what Matty was able to do and what Brito was able to do, it's going to allow us to compete and win Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after today's game. Final score, Arizona 11, San Diego 4. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. A lot to chew on there from Mike Shildt, but let's focus on the part of the post-game questioning and comments that I think is most important right now. Not really anything having to do with today's game, but Joe Musgrove, we got a little bit more information on what's going on with Joe. Again, if you missed it, Joe Musgrove put on the 15-day IL earlier today with what was called on the transaction right elbow inflammation. Later, it was called, from some of the reporters, tricep tendinitis. The good news is that what we heard pregame certainly still was the case postgame, that this did sound precautionary for the Padres and Joe, and Mike Shildt saying that Joe could have answered the bell on Tuesday as far as making his start. They don't feel like there's anything overly serious, but I think the word Mike used there was a little bit of a reset. So the good news is that, again, this does not sound, at least right now, like anything overly serious in the case of Joe Musgrove, which is good. Obviously, the Padres want to be careful. Joe's very important to this team, and anytime you're dealing with anything with the right elbow, arm, tricep, whatever it might be, you certainly understand them being careful. So, again, the good news there from what Mike Shildt had to say is that it does not sound like anything overly serious for Joe Musgrove. So hopefully this is just missing a couple of starts, couple of weeks, and he can get back on the mound pretty quickly here. Maybe something similar, and you heard Mike Shildt kind of allude to it. Hopefully something similar to what we saw Yu Darvish go through, where, hey, he was out for a couple of weeks, was back on the day he was eligible to come back, made the start, was really good, and we move on from there. So hopefully a sign of, good news there for Joe Musgrove in that this is not anything particularly serious. All right, we'll step aside here on the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we will go through our daily awards. If you want to get a phone call in, you can, 833-288-0973. Final score, Diamondbacks 11, Padres 4. More after this on the Padres Radio Network. Enrico Water SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network, although it would be weird to have a pregame show after the game was already over. This is the postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here today, Diamondbacks 11 and the Padres 4. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Still a lot to do on our post-game show. We'll have the full out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a little bit. We'll cycle through some of our daily awards. Frustrating afternoon, no doubt about it, for the Padres. Tough outing for Matt Waldron as he gave up 8 runs, 7 earned in 3+ innings in this ball game here today. So tough one for the Padres, tough one for Matt. Padres do take 2 out of 3 from the D-backs over the weekend. Now it's on to Chicago for the start of a 3-game series at Wrigley Field against the Cubs tomorrow through Wednesday. We'll see if the Padres can pick up another series win, make it a winning road trip, and then come back home. Let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Our relief pitcher of the game here today. We can stay on the Padres side of things because they got 2 nice innings from Kolek and Peralta today. How about Stephen Kolek? 8 pitches, 1, 2, 3, 7th inning, struck out a batter. So for that reason, Stephen Kolek, our relief pitcher of the game today, a day where we can keep it on the Padres side of things. So we will. Nice job by Kolek, and Peralta a scoreless inning as well in this one. Johnny Brito in this game came in the 4th inning, ended up giving up a couple of runs in the 4th, gave up 1 more in the 5th inning. He was a little bit up and down. It's been up and down for Brito so far in his early Padre career, but Brito was the other reliever who came out of the bullpen, replacing Waldron in that 4th inning. All right, when we come back, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. May cycle in a couple of phone calls as well. If you want to get involved on social media, you can do that. Tweet at me or Instagram DM me at SammyLev, SammyLev. If you want to comment on the video stream, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you can do that as well. And I may just address your comment live here on the air. Final score, Diamondbacks 11, Padres 4. More post-game coverage after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score on this Sunday, the D-backs 11 and the Padres 4. Still a lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard in just a moment. Tell you about our player of the game. You'll hear our play of the game as well. If you want to get involved on social media or on the video stream of today's post-game show, you can do that by either tweeting at me, DMing me at SammyLev, SammyLev. If you have a comment about today's game, if you want to get involved on the stream, you can do that as well. And phone calls 833-288-0973. As always, the phone number to ring. We have Renee here on YouTube saying, I'm not mad at this game. Only one less hit than Arizona. Just couldn't get the key hits. And when you're down 4-0 from the jump, you got to be strong mentally and understand, hey, we got some work to do. Well, look, Renee, I agree with you in the sense of when you're down 4-0 and ultimately after 4 innings, you're down 10-4, 11-4 after 5. Look, those games are hard to win. And when you have a starting pitching performance like Matt Waldron put together today, he had a tough outing. It's hard to win those games. Now, sometimes you do when your offense does very, very big things. I thought the Padres actually did a really good job after being down 4-0, making it 4-3. Then it was 6-3. Then the next inning, they scratch across the run to make it 6-4. So there was some momentum there. But when you ultimately are down 10-4, 11-4 after 4 innings, 5 innings, tough to win games like that, really is. So I thought the Padres showed a little bit of fight early, a little bit frustrating with the offense as the game went along. Some singles, inability to move runners, get them in. But today I honestly thought it was one of those games where you got a rough start and not a whole lot you were going to do after that, really. Not that your offense can't, go score 12 if the other team scores 11. But that's asking a lot of your offense. And, hey, the Padres' offense was great Friday and Saturday, right? Really, really, really good. So, is what it is. Here today, Padres fall 11-4 to the Arizona Diamondbacks on this Sunday. All right, we'll get to some more of your comments and your phone calls. Let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues. Giants beating the Phillies, only game going on right now in Philadelphia. 1-0, the Giants ahead in the second. Pirates beat the Rockies 5-3 in Pittsburgh. O'Neal Cruz, a 2-run home run in that game for the Pirates. Yankees beat the Tigers 5-2 in New York. Aaron Judge, a home run in that game for the Yankees. Nationals beat the Blue Jays 11-8 in D.C. Eddie Rosario, a 2-run home run in that game for the Nats. Guardians beat the Angels 4-1 in Cleveland. Jose Ramirez, a 2-run home run in that one for Cleveland. Rays came back to beat the Mets today in Tampa Bay, the final in 10. Edwin Diaz blew a save in that one. Rays came back to tie it, then they ended up winning it in the 10th inning. Rays sweep the Mets at home this weekend. Red Sox beat the Twins 9-2 in Minnesota. The Astros and the Mariners were tied at 4 in the 9th inning. That's before Cal Raleigh did this against our old friend Josh Hader.
Now the stretch and the 0-2 pitch. On the way to Cal, swinging a well-hit ball deep to left field, going, and goodbye baseball! In and out of the Crawford boxes, and straight away left, that was a comet! Holy smokes, number 8 on the year for Cal Raleigh, his second in as many days here in Houston, and the Mariners grab the lead 5-4 over the Astros.
And the Mariners would go on to win by that final score at 5-4. That was Rick Riz on Mariners radio. Big home run for Cal Raleigh in that one. Rangers beat the Royals 3-2 in Kansas City. Final in 10 in KC. White Sox beat the Cardinals 5-1 in St. Louis. Eloy Jimenez hit a home run in that game for the Sox. Cubs blanked the Brewers at Wrigley today 5-0 with a little help from Dansby Swanson.
Deep drive to left center off the bat of Swanson. It's got a chance. Gone. Dansby Swanson with a line drive home run to left center. and the Cubs now lead 4-0.
Pat Hughes on Cubs radio, 5-0. Cubs win it over the Brew Crew. Marlins beat the A's 12-3 in Oakland. Dodgers beat the Braves 5-1 in LA earlier today. Shohei Ohtani, couple of home runs in that one. Orioles beat the Reds 11-1 in Cincinnati, and that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday across the major leagues. Let's take a phone call quickly. Let you chime in on today's game, 833-288-0973. We go to Point Loma. It's Vince on the Padres Radio Network. Hi, Vince.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. I think the problem has to do with the new MLB schedule, because a lot of the players we're getting are from Midwest or Eastern teams, and they're not, used to playing like the Dodgers or the Arizona Diamondbacks. They would only play them, once home, once away, and then now the Padres are also in turn playing a lot of, good teams like the Yankees. The Yankees are coming this year, and then like they went to Canada, they haven't. They used to not play there every year. So my thing is, I think it's a little bit to do with the players, but it's mainly how MLB is doing the schedule. I know it's only the second year, but I feel like the Padres have to acclimate, and a lot of the teams are acclimating to the new schedule and how it's working. Also with the ballparks, because I know some ballparks are, shifting walls here, walls there, and then also with the A's, moved to Vegas, and then the new ballpark in Sacramento. I think that'll be a fun place to go to watch Padres versus when the A's play there, because I feel like it'll be easy home runs.
All right, Vince. Appreciate the phone call. Look, it's a different schedule the last couple of years, but hey, everybody's got to play everybody, and every other year, everybody's got to go to every park in the country, essentially. So I don't know for any team at this point how much playing everybody else, how much that's going to play a factor, because everybody's got to play each other. It's a different schedule these days, obviously, because, look, it used to be you played your division a ton of times. There would be teams you wouldn't even play in any given year, but it is a different schedule. That's for sure. All right, let's continue on our post-game coverage here. Let's tell you about our player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Our player of the game here today on the Padres Radio Network. We'll stay with the Padre for this one again. Jackson Merrill. How about him? Good signs, encouraging signs for Merrill. The 2-run home run in the second today, 1 of 2 hits. Jackson heating up after what was a bit of a scuffle for a week or so. Merrill had the 2 hits, 2 runs scored yesterday, had a double RBI on Friday, and now the home run, 2 hits here today. So good job by Merrill, not allowing the skid. He was 0 for 20 at one point in the last week or so, and has found a way to bounce back. So nice job by Jackson doing that. Second major league home run today, a 2-run shot that got the Padres offense going first. So for all those reasons, Jackson Merrill, today's player of the game. When we come back, we'll hear our play of the game, wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow's series opener in Chicago. Final score, D-backs 11, Padres 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, the Diamondbacks 11 and the Padres 4. As we wrap this one up, we'll get you ready for the series opener in Chicago tomorrow in just a moment. First, let's hear our play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
1-0 to Marte, hit in the air to very deep right field. Fernando's going back, he's at the wall, looking, gonna go. Two-run homer, Ketel Marte. Well, here's the Diamondback offense. They have been quiet all weekend, but they take a lead for the first time, 2-0 Arizona.
Our play of the game today, unfortunately, we go with the D-back. Home run. Kind of had to be today. Ketel Marte, two-run home run, made it 2-0. And Padres wouldn't really ever catch up in this game because the Diamondbacks made it a 4-0 game with a 4-run first inning. Padres were playing from behind the rest of the way, really from that two-run home run on. So for that reason, felt like the home run by Marte sort of had to be our play of the game. Not that the Padres didn't have some nice moments offensively. The 3-run second inning, including the 2-run home run from Merrill, the RBI double for Higashioka. But Padres made it 4-3. Diamondbacks then made it 6-3. Padres made it 6-4. But every time the Padres would get close, the D-backs had an answer ultimately with the 4-run fourth inning. One more in the fifth inning to make it an 11-4 game. And the Diamondbacks go on to win by that final score. It's another beautiful day for a ball game and Military Sunday at that. San Diego County Toyota dealers are proud partners of the Padres and supporters of San Diego's military community. Thank you to all military members for your incredible service. Taking a look at tomorrow, Padres will head to Chicago, the start of a 3-game series against the Cubs. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then an off day on Thursday, back home for a homestand starting on Friday. Taking a look at the pitching matchup tomorrow for the Padres, it'll be right-hander Yu Darvish on the mound. And on the mound for the Chicago Cubs, it'll be left-hander Justin Steele. So Steele against Darvish. Remember, the last time the Padres faced the Cubs, Steele was on the IL, so the Padres missed him. But Darvish against Steele, good pitching matchup tomorrow at Wrigley Field in Chicago. First pitch tomorrow, remember, Central Time in Chicago, so we're going to be a little bit earlier here on the West Coast. 4:40 p.m. first pitch tomorrow, and our Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 3:40. Certainly hope you can join us then. Taking a look at the final totals in this one here today. For the D-backs, 11 runs, 13 hits, no errors. They left on 3. For the Padres, 4 runs, 12 hits, 1 error. They left on 8. Winning pitcher in this game for Arizona, right-hander Ryan Nelson, who improves to 2-2. Losing pitcher was Matt Waldron, who drops to 1-4. Time of game, 2 hours, 39 minutes, and the crowd at Chase Field in Phoenix, 30,968. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 4:40. Our pregame coverage begins at 3:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from inside our San Diego studios. Again, our final score here today, the Arizona Diamondbacks 11 and the San Diego Padres 4. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.